Hola amigos, feliz. Oh no, I almost said Feliz Viernes, but it's not Viernes, it is Sábado. We just had a crazy week. Leslie and I have been getting the Medical Spanish Masterclass all ready to go. We've been recording the lessons. We're so excited for that to start up in just over a week. So anyway, it's not Friday, it is Saturday. I've got like an hour in between the girls' soccer games, and I wanted to share esta lección contigo. This, in fact, Friday, the reason I didn't put this out on Friday is because I was at a residency program, one of the local residency programs we work with, and it's the OB-GYN residency program in Denver. And we were working on some basic vocabulario for Gynecology, obstetricia, and doing some basic prenatal education. I wanted to share with you the things that they put together, and maybe you can use it as well with your pacientes. Before we jump into the lesson, just a quick reminder about the Medical Spanish Masterclass. We do it twice a year, so every September and every January, and now it starts in just 8 days. So it's going to begin not this Monday, but next Monday is when the masterclass begins. It is, again, 100% free, but you do have to register. And if you complete the masterclass with us, you can earn 4 free CME or CE credits. So make sure you look around here on the post or on YouTube, wherever you're watching this video, and find the link to get registered for that Medical Spanish Masterclass. We'd love to have you join us. Okay, muy bien. So here's what we did. On Friday, we started off with just some repaso de vocabulario of ginecología y obstetricia. And also, on this post, in this YouTube video information, I'm going to share with you the links to these 2 vocabulary sets in Quizlet. So we've got a gynecology vocabulary set. Look, there's 150 entries here. It's a mix of vocabulary and phrases, questions, things that you talk about during your well woman visits, etc. And then here, pregnancy and prenatal vocabulary, 181 flashcards. Again, vocabulario and frases, preguntas, etc. I wanted to share these with you because it's a great resource, 100% free. You just need to know where to find it. So check out down below the video here. You can find the links and head off and study that vocabulario. All right, muy bien. So after we reviewed some vocabulario together as a group, we reviewed how to give instrucciones en español. And what we did was we looked at some basic like cheater instructions and then commands in the usted form. And commands are slightly different for verbals AR than for ER and AR. So ERs and IRs there. They're a little bit different than ARs. But las instrucciones fáciles were something like this. And what's great about them is they don't require any conjugación. We just need to remember some phrases. So tiene que, you have to, or no tiene que, you don't have to. Es importante, and then whatever our next verb is, or no es importante, it's not important. Es buena idea, it's a good idea, or no es buena idea. Usted necesita, you need to, or usted no necesita, you don't need to. Usted debe, you should, or usted no debe, you shouldn't. Usted puede, you can, or usted no puede, you can't. We're going to see some examples in a minute, but let's look at the theory piece first. And then instrucciones mandatos usted. So usted commands, our formal commands, con verbos AR. A quick reminder of how to form those. You start with the yo form, the I form of present tense verbs. You drop the O, quitar la O, and then you agregar E. And the ERs and IRs are the same 3-step process, except step number 3 is different. Instead of agregar E, you agregar A. So you go to the O, drop the O, add the A for ERs and IRs. Okay, let's look at some examples now. Back to our instrucciones fáciles. An example like tiene que tomar. You have to take. You have to take. Es importante comer. It's important to eat. Usted no debe fumar. You shouldn't smoke. Okay? All right, so what's great about this is, particularly if you're not to the place yet that you know present tense verbs, you don't know present tense verbs yet, stick here, because you don't have to worry about conjugations at all. And so you just remember these phrases, these simple lead-ins, and then your next verbs are unconjugated. It's super easy to do. All right, muy bien. But if you do know present tense, take the next step. Go to the O, drop the O, and then you're going to add E for verbos AR. So it's going to look like this. Tomar is the verb to take, right? So you go to the O, tomo, you scratch it off the O, and then you add E, so the command for usted becomes tome. Usar becomes use. Evitar becomes evite. All right, evitar is avoid, okay? Bien, and then some examples of verbos er, hacer is the verb to do or to make. The yo form is hago, and then you put an a on it, it becomes haga. Comer is como, you put the a on the end, it becomes coma. And then dormir, duermo, becomes duerma. So this is how you give simple usted commands in Espanol. All right, so here's what we did. After we reviewed how to formar instrucciones, whether it's the simple ones or the actual usted commands, I said, hey, what are some verbos that come up in your conversaciones prenatales, in your prenatal conversations? Here's what they identified. Acostarse, the verb to lie down. Anotar is to record or write down, make a note of, basically. Comer, to eat. Contar, to count. Descansar, to rest. Escribir, to write. Evitar, to avoid. Hablar o conversar, to discuss. Llamar, to call. Medir, to measure. Recordar, to remember. Repasar would be like to go back over, review in the context of you've seen it once, let's review the instructions or whatever. Revisar is to review something in the sense of, reading the results, revisar los resultados in the sense of like checking, not necessarily reviewing, but more in the checking sense. Tomar, to take, and traer, to bring. All right, so those are some verbos that they identified, and now some frases they put together, just trying to put these instructions to use. So algunas instrucciones que formaron ellas. Tome su pastilla prenatal cada día. So take your prenatal pill. You could also say vitamina prenatal cada día. So take your prenatal pill every day. See? Es importante traer sus medidas de azúcar a las citas. It's important to bring your blood sugar readings or your blood sugar results a las citas, okay, to the appointments. No coma quesos, don't eat quesos no pasteurizados, so non-pasteurized cheeses, ni sushi con pescado crudo. Crudo is raw. Ni sushi con pescado crudo. All right, so these are good instructions they're putting together, right? Es importante no aumentar demasiado peso. So it's important to not gain too much weight. Now, there were some more advanced folks in the residency program yesterday, and so some of them knew the subjunctive, and they said, well, how would you do it? Es importante que no aumente. Que no aumente. It's important that you don't gain, ¿verdad? So, but this is much more advanced, so it's called the subjunctive. It's a different mood. Anyway, that's how you do it if you're familiar with it. If you're not familiar with the subjunctive, forget about it until you learn it formally, okay? Because it's really kind of tricky. Okay, evite los quesos suaves. Avoid soft cheeses. Camine 10 a 20 minutos cada día. So walk 10 to 20 minutes a day. Llame a la clínica si tiene preguntas. Call the clinic if you have questions. Debe beber 8 vasos de agua diarios. So you should drink 8 glasses of water daily. Tome, take. Tome su hierro un día sí, un día no. So literally this means one day yes, one day no. But it's a very close equivalent to every other day. Now there's another way to say it too. Cada otro día is another way to say every other day in Español. All right, bien. So we just practiced formando instrucciones and put those instrucciones into contexto with algún poquito de educación prenatal. Luego, we identified a handful of topics that they talk about with their pregnant moms. And here were the 4 that they wanted to practice yesterday. So primero, el aumento de peso, weight gain. La dieta, diet. La actividad física, so physical activity. El consumo de cafeína, alcohol y tabaco. Okay? Muy bien. So let's get started with el aumento de peso. Here are some brainstorm sort of instructions and frases and ideas they put together, ideas principales about el aumento de peso. All right. Recomiendo aumentar. So I recommend gaining, or recomiendo que aumente, because we had some more advanced folks, right? This is that subjunctive. Entre 10 y 20 libras. So I recommend you gain between 10 and 20 pounds. Necesita tener cuidado, you need to be careful, para no aumentar demasiado peso, to not gain too much weight. No es necesario aumentar peso para su bebé crecer. It's not necessary to gain weight for your baby to grow. Okay? All right, muy bien. Moving on to the group that worked on dieta, la práctica de dieta. So here's what they said about dieta. Coma una dieta balanceada. Eat a balanced diet. La mitad del plato, so half of the plate, debe ser frutas y verduras. Should be fruits and vegetables. No debe comer atún y otros pescados que contienen mercurio. So you shouldn't eat tuna, atún, and other fish, y otros pescados que contienen mercurio, that have mercury. Evite los quesos suaves, avoid soft cheeses, y quesos no pasteurizados, and non-pasteurized cheeses. Carnes frías y embutidos, same idea. Evite las carnes frías, like lunch meats, y embutidos, another word for lunch meats, okay? And carnes procesadas, really. Debe lavar, you should wash, debe lavar sus verduras y frutas antes de comerlas. You should wash your fruits and vegetables before eating them. All right, so that was la dieta. Our otro tema, actividad física. Evite los deportes de contacto, so avoid contact sports. Recomiendo 10 a 20 minutos de ejercicio, por lo menos, at least 3 días por semana, at least 3 days a week. Puede continuar las actividades que hacía antes del embarazo. You continue the activities that you did before your pregnancy. But no comience, don't start un programa nuevo de actividad física. Don't start a new physical activity program now that you're pregnant, right? All right, y el tema final que ellas practicaron, el consumo de cafeína, alcohol y tabaco. Es importante no beber alcohol durante el embarazo. It's important to not drink alcohol during the pregnancy, okay? Debe dejar de fumar. Dejar de fumar. This one I should have underlined. Dejar de is the best verb to stop doing any of those vices or things that are possibly harmful, right? So debe dejar de fumar cigarrillos. You should stop smoking cigarettes, or essentially quit, okay? Dejar de vapear mientras está embarazada, and stop vaping while you're pregnant. No beba, don't drink, no beba más de una taza de café cada día. So what I like is, you don't have to always be advanced grammary to say good things, right? So look, es importante no beber. This was one of those simple instructions. Es importante no beber. Debe dejar de fumar. Another one of those simple instructions, debe. And then it just makes perfect sense. It doesn't sound too bossy. It doesn't sound mean or rude. It's just no beba. That's the command form. No beba más de una taza de café cada día. All right. Entonces, after they sort of did some brainstorming, then I gave them some practice, some conversational practice scenarios to work on in small groups, and thinking about these topics that they already did some brainstorming and shared together as a group of residents. Here are the preguntas that I gave them to spur on some sort of patient-provider conversations. And what I'd like you to do is think about estas preguntas de pacientes to possibly use with a practice partner for you too. So pregunta número 1 was, me encanta todo tipo de actividad física. I love all kinds of physical activity. Correr, running, el ciclismo, biking, esquiar, skiing, montar a caballo, riding a horse, hacer kayaking, etc. Pero no quiero correr ningún riesgo con mi bebé. But I don't want to run any risks with my baby. ¿Qué tipos de ejercicio puedo hacer y no debo hacer? So what types of exercise can I do and I shouldn't do? And so that's one question, right? It's a perfect lead-in for all that ejercicio físico stuff that they were working on and that you might want to be talking about with your pregnant moms. Okay, pregunta número 2. ¿Qué me recomienda comer y no comer ahora que estoy embarazada? What do you recommend that I eat and not eat now that I'm pregnant? Número 3, me encanta el café y necesito una copa de vino de vez en cuando. I love coffee and I need a glass of wine here and there. ¿Está bien? Is that okay? ¿Cuánto es seguro tomar? How much is safe to drink? All right, muy bien. You're going to be a killjoy. I can just tell it. All right, pregunta número 4. ¿Con qué frecuencia necesito hacer citas para recibir buena atención prenatal? So how often do I need to make appointments to get good prenatal care? So you could talk about el programa de visitas as well there. Okay, muy bien. So we went through some simple suggestions, some basic instructions for mamá embarazada. Here's what I'd like you to do. Un comentario, por favor, down below. If you're on YouTube, comment in the YouTube comment section. If you are on the blog post, comment on the blog post. ¿Qué otras instrucciones les da a las mamás embarazadas? So what other instructions do you give pregnant moms? Write the other instructions you give down below. Do your best attempt in Spanish, and here's what we'll do. We'll look at your comments, and if you need any feedback, if it's perfect, we'll give you a thumbs up, say good work. And if you could use some adjustments, maybe you didn't get the command quite right, or there's a better way to say something, then we'll give you some feedback so that you can make sure that the useful things you're trying to communicate with your patients, you're able to do and do well and communicate clearly. All right, amigos. Hey, gracias por aprender español conmigo. Juntos mejoramos comunidades. Together we really are improving communities. Para más español, head over to Common Ground International. And if you would like to take some free medical Spanish terminology tests, head over to Certified Spanish. Create your own free account. You can take an unlimited number of medical Spanish terminology tests. All right, muy bien. Muchas gracias. Thanks for joining me today. If you learned something new today, make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel so you can keep getting more información, más lecciones gratis en español. Gracias, amigos, and don't forget to register for the masterclass. It's an amazing course. Doesn't matter what time of year you're seeing this, there's always a new masterclass coming up, and register now to get on the list, okay? All right, ciao, amigos.